guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are doing a full face of first impressions, one brand tutorial, all with Milani makeup. Milani is a brand that I really have not tried a lot from, and I went to Ulta not too long ago and was just very intrigued by what they had in their section and realized I haven't tried a whole lot from them. So I wanted to go ahead and take today to do pretty much a full face using all Milani. There was only a couple products that weren't, and I explained why I used different products in the video. This is the look that we were able to come up with, very like smoky eye, nude lip. If you are interested to see how I came up with today's look, then make sure to keep on watching. But before we go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel every 4 days, so you never have to miss me for too long. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Okay, I already went ahead and did my brows. Milani does have like a type of microblading pin brow type of thing, but it honestly like did not intrigue me. You'll find pretty much all of this is full face of Milani except for a couple of things. Thought about just buying products that I was missing in each category just so I could really make it like a full face of Milani, but I'm not gonna spend my money on something that is not interesting or intriguing to me, and I hope you guys can understand that. So I went ahead and did my brows, just got my lashes filled today, so we're feeling good. It is now time for eyes. I'm gonna start by priming the eyes with this Milani eyeshadow primer, and this is in the color 1 Nude. Apply to clean, dry lids and allow to set for 30 seconds. Blend well from lash line to brow. Comes in a little squeezy tube. This looks like the same color as the Wet n Wild one, just a little bit thicker. You guys see that? It's kind of like balling up a little bit weird. I was a little bit scared at first because it was balling up a little bit weird on the eyes. The initial color of it made me think that it was gonna do a little bit of like concealing slash correcting, but it seems to be translucent once you blend it out. I prefer something that does have like color and pigment to it, but I'm not opposed at all to eyeshadow primers that don't. Like the e.l.f. eyeshadow primer is really good. That doesn't have pigment. The Wet n Wild one doesn't have pigment. You just need something that your eyeshadow can stick to. Especially if you're somebody with veiny eyes, I would really recommend using a colored eyeshadow primer. Feels a little bit tacky. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyeshadow. Didn't buy any of the eyeshadow palettes that they had in store because I just wasn't wowed by any of the color stories. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyes real fast and then we will be back. I always say how I never do all matte looks because I just don't feel complete without a shimmer. But I'm kind of living for this kind of smoky dark moment. For once, I did not use any shimmer. It's just a very simple smoky eye. At first, I thought that I was gonna have a little bit of trouble blending out the eyeshadow because tackier eyeshadow bases just do that naturally. When it's tacky, whatever product you initially put on there is just gonna stick to it and it's not gonna wanna move. I didn't find that I had trouble blending them out really more until the end. Like you can tell right here, I have a little bit of a splotch, but I don't know if that's the eyeshadow's fault or if it's the eyeshadow primer's fault. It didn't do that over here. Went ahead and quickly threw on my e.l.f. eye tapes. I did go ahead and pick up a new eyeliner. This is the Milani matte eyeliner in the color 110 Black Matte. It's supposed to be humidity and sweat resistant, ultra thin felt tip, which I personally like felt tips a little bit better because I am still like kind of a beginner, and I feel like with a felt tip you have just a little bit more control where the product is going. Felt tip looks like, just to show you guys, could be a little bit more pointy. It's a little bit at the end, which is the way it came. I haven't even used it yet unless I pulled it out wrong. I always start shorter, go longer, and I always start with my wing. That is very black. Oh, didn't really get much pigment out of that swipe. Let's try again. Okay, I guess we're just having a wait that's that long. I know it looks muddy now, but once I pull the e.l.f. eye tape off, it should be good. It does dry down to be matte. This is like actually the most matte eyeliner I've ever tried. When I first used it, it was really pigmented over here, but now that I'm coming over here, it looks a little less super black. Like it's kind of see-through just a little bit on the end of this wing, if you guys can see. These are long wings, okay. It's a thicker formula. Over here, when I first applied it, it was super, super pigmented and super black. And then when I got over to this eye, it was not giving me the same energy. A little bit longer than what I usually go for, and I feel like the angles are a little bit different. Oh Lord, guys, this is not how I like to start the videos. Okay, well I did feel like it was a little bit messy to work with. That could have been just because I was trying to like avoid my eyelash extensions. After I went over it on this eye, after I did 2 coats, it seemed to be fine. But I really do like the fact that it's super matte. I don't think I've ever even used a matte eyeliner. I think that if you're a beginner, I think you'll like felt a little bit better. Yeah, this wing is definitely more up than this wing is, which is gonna bother me the whole time I'm editing this video. Just show you guys, this is what the wings look like. Very pretty. I always like to start with my wing shorter and then work my way up to longer. In my opinion, I think it's harder to take away with a makeup wipe because you are risking messing with your eyeshadow and all that stuff. I just went ahead and wiped off the excess, and then I do have a little bit of eyeshadow underneath. You already know what time it is because we're zoomed out. My favorite part of makeup, complexion. I'm actually kind of living for this smoky, sultry, matte type of moment. This is something I do not do very often ever. I don't feel like my eyeshadow is complete without shimmer, so I feel like a whole new person right now. I actually have 3 different primers I'm going to be testing out today. One of them's a primer mist slash facial mist. I want to go ahead and start off with the facial mist. This is the Milani Supercharged Facial Mist in the scent Ginseng and Citrus Extracts. Now the reason I want to start with the spray first is because I feel like I can spray it into my skin, and then once I get my actual primer, I feel like I can really work that spray into the skin versus trying to do my actual primer first and then spray over it. I feel like they'll mix a lot better if I do start with the primer mist. Claims to have weightless hydration, supercharged ingredients, prep and revitalize, so you can prep skin before makeup, or you can use for an energy boost throughout the day. So it's not really a setting spray. It has a nice mister on it. Ooh. That is very citrusy smelling. And I'm surprised that it didn't give like a glow to the skin. It really is more tacky than anything. No complaints. And then next I'm going to be using 2 primers today. The first one is this Milani Chill Out Soothing Primer. And this claims to be silicone free, blurs imperfections, and extends makeup wear. So this really like reminds me of the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Y'all know I got pores the size of Mars. I'm going to be using the No Pore Zone Ultra Pore Minimizing, Blurring, and Oil Controlling Primer. Has a matte finish to it, yes. For some reason I thought that this was gonna come with a pump, but it's actually a squeezy tube. I'm excited to see what the texture of this is. That looks very silicone-y to me. I don't know if I fully believe that there's no silicone in this. Okay, I do. It was more so the texture. I don't mind something that has silicone in it because I feel like silicone primers do a little bit of a better job of filling in your pores and doing that blurring stuff. This does feel like more hydrating than it does anything. And it's also mattifying because that one took away from the shine on my forehead. That feels nice. And the reason I used 2 of them is because I always like to use a more hydrating primer and then like a more pore targeting type of primer slash mattifying primer. I feel like my pore filling primer goes on a lot better if I have something hydrating besides skincare on before. Very, very lightweight feeling. I like that. And it mattified. I honestly could use that on its own. When I think of hydrating primers, I do not think of something that is going to be matte at all. Next, I'm going to go in with this No Pore Zone. Now this does not claim to be silicone free. If I had to guess, I would guess that this does have silicone in it. I know some people don't like silicone. Ugh. First squeeze out of them, there's like oil. Ugh. I hate oil. I hate oil because my skin is already oily enough. Like I don't need any more oil. Exact same texture and color as the first primer. Oh yeah, this definitely has silicone in it. Silicone has more of a like slick feeling. It kind of like smooths onto your skin. Do you guys see that? Look at what it's doing. It's balling up on my skin. Let me see if I can rub that away. That's never a good sign, guys. I'm wondering if maybe that hydrating primer and the pore filling primer do not get along because my face feels a lot heavier. I think I'm gonna take it off. I've never put on a bad primer and then liked everything else that went on top of it, so I kind of feel like that's gonna sabotage all the other products. But I did like that hydrating primer, so I want to use that on its own because that was weird. Yeah, this one, at least when I put it on top of the hydrating primer, it felt a lot more heavy on the skin than the hydrating primer did. Maybe it's because I used both of them. To me, like when brands come out with multiple things like this that are in a line, you should be able to mix and match them. Things that come in the same line should work better than any other product that you use from any other line. Let me quickly go ahead and put on the Chill Out primer. Definitely like this hydrating primer better. I'm not even worried that I don't have a pore filling primer. I have 2 foundations here from Milani. This first one is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I've actually already tried this before and I've been using it and I'm a very big fan of it. I have the color 13 Chestnut, but I saw this foundation and I was like, okay, I have to try this. I've never seen anything like it. This This is the Milani Screen Queen Natural Finish Foundation, and I just got the color 500 Natural Toffee. And I like Milani's products because all of them pretty much have the claims on the back of them. Luminous natural skin finish, buildable, light to medium coverage, long wearing. Whenever I test new foundations on this channel, we always do half sponge, half brush. Just gonna shake it. It doesn't say to shake it, but better safe than sorry. I'm just gonna start with one pump on each side of my face, and I'm gonna do the sponge side first. Hopefully the match on this is okay. Oh wow, that is actually like perfect. It's a little bit thicker in consistency, but it smells like foundation. If you guys think that you are a foundation shade that is close to me, or if you know that you're a foundation shade that's close to me, I have every single foundation that is a really good match for me down in the description box. Not all of the foundations that I've tried are listed, just the ones that are a really good match. And I always keep that updated, so whenever I try a new foundation and it's a good match, I'll put it down there. Oh wow, that actually has really good coverage. For that to be a sponge and to claim to be light to medium coverage, that is really pretty on the skin. If you have been on my channel for a while, even a year ago, I would have never tried a natural luminous finish foundation, but I found that it's really all about mixing and balancing. So like if I use a more natural radiant foundation, I'll make sure to use like a really mattifying primer and setting spray and setting powder. Don't think that just because you have oily skin, that doesn't mean that you can't try natural foundations, because some of my favorite foundations are natural finish. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty with a sponge. Very, very lightweight feeling. I mean, it doesn't cover everything, obviously, but I was a little bit worried that it was gonna be heavy feeling on the face because it was a little bit thicker in consistency. I'm gonna do like a little pump to see if I can build it up, like just an itty bitty one. That's buildable. You can still see the bump, but the redness went away. I actually really like that. This, I feel like, would be so pretty for summer if you're just wearing something with like a nice amount of coverage, but also very lightweight feeling. Like the last thing you want is to have heavy foundation on your face in the middle of summer. It's already hot enough outside. e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush on my brush side, and I always tell you guys, as you guys can see, brushes usually will give you a little bit more coverage than a sponge will. A sponge just tends to soak up a little bit more of your product. And if you guys have noticed, I don't think I've ever even really pointed this out in my videos, I really do not put a whole lot of product underneath my eyes because I am a concealer lover, like very big advocate. And I honestly feel like this really isn't even super luminous. This is just like a natural finish. To me, it's really hard when like foundations are like, oh yeah, it's a natural finish, because my natural skin is super oily, like super shiny. So when it's like natural like this, it almost is more matte than what my skin is on its own. And I do feel like I got more coverage out of this side. It's not hanging on weird at all whatsoever. Yay! I'm glad that I took that other primer off, because I'm telling you guys, if you're not using a good primer and if your primer's doing something weird, don't even try to be a scientist and experiment, because I guarantee you, like 9.5 times out of 10, it's not going to mix well with whatever else you're putting on top of your skin. I have never heard anybody talk about this, and I was surprised that they had as many shades as they did. Now we are ready for concealer. I am a big fan of the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer. This is in the color 160 Warm Tan, and I wanted to use this, but I have never used this brightening under eye tint, and this is the color 130 DP. I wanted to use these two together because I've seen a lot of people say that it works better if you put it over another concealer, because it really doesn't give like a whole bunch of coverage. So this concealer is a little bit too light. It's gonna look unnaturally bright if I try to pair these two together. So I'm gonna use something a little bit darker of Hydrating Camo Concealer in the color Deep Olive. This is like the darkest concealer that I have. So I wanted to do something that was a little bit darker. That way we could really see how much brightening this under eye stuff actually does. I wish this wasn't so yellow, but it's like the best color that I found in that line. But it has a good formula, so I'm like, it's fine. If you find that your concealer is a little bit too bright, just use the side of your sponge that you use for your foundation, and it will tone it down a little bit. Using this more to conceal and then the eye brightener to brighten. I know that may seem kind of obvious, but to me, that really never clicked in my head for a long time. I'm just gonna go in, brush. Now we're gonna go ahead and use this eye brightener. So I think I'm just gonna place like a little dot underneath both eyes. Comes in a little squeezy tube. I know y'all can hear my stomach growling. I am so hungry. I don't wanna put too much. I'm just gonna place a little dot of product right in the inner corner. And this is what I've been doing with my concealer too. And I'll place a little bit in the inner corner and then I disperse it. This is very pinky. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. It did say peach. Should I use a brush or should I use a sponge? We'll do one and one. Oh wow, okay, yeah, that definitely brightened. But it's not unnaturally brightening. It's just like bringing light underneath your eyes to make you look like you got sleep. I can tell that it brightened, but it did not give a lot of coverage. I like this side better actually. I feel like my concealer was like a little bit too yellow. So I think that's why I'm liking the peachiness. I feel like it's kind of taking away from the super yellow. What do you guys think? I mean, I definitely don't think both under eyes look the same. I like this one way, way better. I like the fact that it's not like a super unnatural looking type of brightening. It just kind of like makes you look a little bit more awake. I didn't look at this eye up close before I set it, but I am gonna look at my other eye up close. This eye actually looks better underneath than this eye does. It's hanging on a little bit weird to my fine lines. That honestly may be my fault though. That is my fault because I always go in with this brush after I do concealer or anything underneath my eyes because I have a lot of fine lines underneath. Well, remember, I only used a sponge on this side. I didn't go in with this versus over here I did. That just goes to show you guys, like little steps like that make a huge difference. Now we are ready for cheek products. I didn't realize how many I have. I have 3 different cheek products. Trying to figure out how I'm gonna use all of them. I have 2 of the cream blushes that come in the pan, and then I have Cheek Kiss liquid blush in the color 110 Nude Flush. Milani, this is the Cheek Kiss cream blush in the color 110 Nude Kiss, which I think these are supposed to be identical to each other, just in different formulas. And then I have this one, which I think I'm gonna like the most. This is the color 140 Merlot Moment. When you're in makeup stores, the colors of things can look a little bit different depending on what type of lighting you're in. I did not realize how light and pink this was, but honestly, I feel like it's gonna be okay. I can't test all 3 of these and give you like a fair review on each one of them. I'm gonna end up mixing these colors, but I'm gonna do one on one cheek and one on the other cheek. That way we can see what they look like separately. Save this liquid blush for like a full face of first impressions. I'm gonna go in with a sponge first. Some cream blushes I think work better with a sponge. Some think I work better with a brush. So I'm just gonna try the sponge first. I will be really surprised if I end up like loving this color. So let's see. I always go over it, so I'm wondering if it kind of disappears. I just figured that this was not gonna be amazing on its own just because I'm so dark. It's not that it's not a good color or a good product, so let's go in with the darker one and see what I think, but I don't think it was bad. Oh yeah, this one shows up look way better. And that's pigmented. I used a lot less on this cheek than I did on this cheek. These are very like on the more natural side of things. But I definitely like this side better. So I don't even think I'm gonna have to put the light one over here to make them look the same. I think I just need to add a little bit of this color over here. I'm gonna apply a little bit with a brush to see if I can get any more pigment that way. I mean, it packs a punch when you first put it on. It's just about how much you blend it, which is also a preference thing, like if you want more natural blush. But this is just a habit for me. So usually I do my bronzer and then my blush, but I sat my blush in front of my bronzer. So we're gonna do blush and then bronzer today. We're gonna roll with the punches. Also, have never heard anybody talk about this product, and I was actually very surprised to see that this came as dark as it did. Milani Supercharged Multi-Use Luminous Gel Stick, and it says it's for cheek and lip. It's supposed to be buildable wash of color infused with emollient oils. This is in the color 160 Bronze Voltage, and it actually comes darker than this. I really have not seen a whole lot of cream bronzer as far as Drugstore goes. Very, very creamy and definitely luminous. Smells like chocolate. Okay, this should be interesting because I didn't realize that it was supposed to have a luminous finish. But I don't know if I'm liking like the luminous type vibe. I usually honestly never like my makeup until I have setting powder all over my face, and then I'm like, okay. Actually has pretty good coverage. Nice formula. Very blendable. I'm not gonna really worry about too much because it was my mistake. Quickly just went ahead and set my face. This is what the face is looking like. I think I have some type of like rash over here that I have mentioned to you guys, but just in case this is your first video from me, I have some type of rash like on my cheek right here that just makes my makeup look weird no matter what it is. Okay, hold on. I was kind of feeling like the blush took away like my foundation, but I wasn't sure if I was just seeing things because like I said, I do have something weird going on with my cheeks. But if you look like right here, it almost looks like I have no foundation on. So the only thing I put there was the blush. Sometimes the tool that you're applying it with will do that. So I don't know if it was the brush or the sponge because I used both. I'll have to try that cream blush a little bit more. I mean, I like the color. I definitely like this one better. That's weird because it happened on both cheeks. Usually it just happens on one, but it looks a little splotchy right here. This is not a new product. I actually just tested this in my last full face of first impressions. It is the highlighter duo in 140 double shot. It's supposed to be a cream and powder, but they both have a very powdery texture to them. I'm just gonna put a little bit in my inner corner, and I like to mix these two. That's why I was gonna use these as my shimmers for my lid. Ooh, that is pretty. I almost picked up those like baked highlighters that they had. I like a more gold highlighter, and the ones that they had were like more pinky. Super pretty. Yeah, that cream blush, I don't know. I've heard really good things about it, which I think is why I'm like on the fence, but that's why like sometimes it just goes to show, just because somebody else likes something doesn't mean you're gonna like it. I picked up a repurchase of this setting spray because I didn't think I had one, but turns out I already had a Milani setting spray that I needed to try. This one I've never tried. This one I love. This is my second or third bottle of it. Milani Make It Last, and this is just the regular one. This one right here is the Milani Make It Last in the matte version, and it claims to have a 16-hour wear. I already know that I love this one, so I'm gonna be a little risky and use this. I feel like the biggest things that can ruin makeup are primer, setting spray, and foundation. Everything else you can kind of maneuver and like work with. Really hoping this doesn't let me down. Has the same smell. This is what my makeup did last time I did it. It left little white specks on my face. Is it just me, or does it look like I'm missing makeup on my cheeks? What on earth is happening? Like, do you see how splotchy it is? Guys, I don't know if I'm going crazy, because in moments of this video, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And then other moments I'm like, this is the worst makeup look I've ever done. I mean, it definitely mattified. I can tell that. Went ahead and lined my lips really quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and use this lipstick. This is the Milani Color Statement lipstick in the color 29 Teddy Bear. This is actually one of my favorite nude lipsticks. Balance between pinky and brown. We're gonna go ahead and finish underneath the eyes, and then we will be done. This is a newer product, or at least that's what it says on the box. Milani Stay Put Eyeliner, and I got the color 2 Semi-Sweet, so it's just a dark brown. I really avoid black eyeliner because I feel like it's a little bit too intense for me. And the nice thing about this is that it comes with product and then a little bit of a smudger. So I will definitely have to try that. And it's retractable. I love retractable lip liners and lip pencils. They're just so much more convenient. I feel like you get all your product versus when you have to sharpen it, you're sharpening away product. I wanna go ahead and take a swatch on my hand just to see how creamy it is. Butter. Do you hear me? I'm like barely pressing too. I'm not pressing hard at all. I love. And I actually like the smudger. When it comes to a smudger, I like something that is really small and precise. That way you don't drag your product down too low. I like using dark brown because it almost does look black. Like, it's so dark that you don't need to use a black. Gonna go ahead and use this Milani. This is the highly rated mascara. Claims to build, lift, and give extreme volume and single stroke for luxurious finish. Since I have lash extensions, I don't need to use mascara on the top, so I only use mascara on the bottom, but I almost feel like you can really tell if a mascara is good or not based on how it does on your bottom lashes. The formula is a little bit thicker, I can already tell. It's a little bit clumpy. This is the first coat. I can already tell definitely is clumpier. I don't know, I feel like it's not bad, but it's not like life-changing. I'd have to try this a couple more times. I mean, I can tell that my bottom lashes are there, which is really like the only thing that I look for in a bottom mascara. I feel like that setting spray made me have like an almost white cast. I think the setting spray is what made my foundation kind of separate right here, because before the setting spray on my face, it just looks lighter. Do you know what I mean? Since we are done with everything, I'm just gonna go through everything really quickly and kind of give you guys my thoughts. The eyeshadow primer I thought was okay, did what it needed to do. Now that I'm looking at the top of this, it says Shake Me. Maybe that's why I didn't like it, because I didn't get the product all dispersed. I was gonna say that I didn't like this, but I fail to follow instructions sometimes, even if I read them and even if I'm looking at the packaging. I already know that I love this. I have repurchased this and will continue to repurchase purchase it. I'm gonna give this another chance because I feel like I didn't really give it a fair chance. The eyeliners, both of them did very, very well. Two of my favorites from this video. Although with this, it is black, but I found I did have to go over my eyeliner twice. And then after that, I had a really nice matte black liner. Very big fan of the foundation. I expected it to have lighter coverage than what it did, so that caught me off guard. Very light feeling on the face. The primer mist, I mean, I can't really tell. It felt good going onto the face. I'll have to continue to use this. This is a product that I think I'll have to use more than once to get like a real consensus on it. Out of the primers, I am a big fan of this Milani Chill Out Soothing Primer. The only reason I'm saying that is because I got to apply it twice and I really loved the way that it felt. And for me to not have any pore filling primer on, my pores actually look decent. I'll have to use this on its own. I've never found a pore filling primer that doesn't work well with a hydrating primer, but I'm gonna try to use this with just this on its own, nothing else, and see how it works then. So I'll also have to keep you guys updated on that. I was very surprised at how creamy and pigmented this was. Was a little bit thrown off by the fact that it was luminous. It looks a little bit different to me than what like my other matte cream bronzers do, but I liked it. It looks pretty now that it's set. I actually like this. If you do try this, try applying it with a concealer and then go in with this with a brush. I even told you guys I could tell a clear difference between my eyes, and it goes to show why it's so important to go in with a brush underneath your eyes. Even if you're a sponge lover like me, there's some things the sponge just can't reach, especially underneath your eyes if you have a lot of fine lines like I do. I'm gonna have to try these with some other products because I kind of felt like they took off my foundation. That could be that I used a sponge, it could be because I used a brush, it could be the product, so that's something that I'm gonna have to try to figure out. Mascara, I don't know. I mean, it looks good, but it is on the clumpier side and the formula is a little bit more dry. It's not a bad thing, it's just I like to note that because some people like a formula that's a little bit more wet. And the lipstick, I've been loving this. This has been a favorite of mine for a long time. Like if I'm going on vacation, I take this lipstick because it's my go-to highlighter. Love, love, love this. This color right here reminds me a lot of the Becca Chocolate Geode shade. Reminds me a lot of that. And then this is just beautiful. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Let me know what some of your favorite brands are, what one brand tutorial you would like to see next. I do have a whole full face playlist that I will link right up there for you guys to check out. But honestly, I'm not mad at the way that this came out. Only a couple products that I really was not living for, but everything else was really good. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.